Welcome to CIO Leadership Live. I'm Lee Rennick, Executive Director of CIO Communities for CIO.com, and I'm very excited and honored today to welcome Christine Bongard, CEO, co-founder of the WIT Network. Christine, please introduce yourself and welcome to the show.
Hi there, Lee. Thank you so much for having me on today. Yes, Christine Bongard, CEO and co-founder of the WIT Network. I have been a woman in technology my whole career. I had the fortunate experience of being part of a tech startup in the New York metro area and had the opportunity to grow business from start and learn all about everything technology, how to manage teams, how to run a business. It was just such an incredible opportunity for me. And that led me to being a woman in tech. And I got to build a great network over all of that time and have the fortunate experience to then take my career as an entrepreneur and in the tech industry and build a global network for women in tech as my second part of my career. So loving it.
Wow. That sounds really amazing. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. And, I'm a member of the WIT Network. Our organization is. I'm so proud that we have that connection with this organization and all that you do to ensure that women have a safe place, a place to network and learn and share. And so I'm looking forward to having this interview today. So I really do appreciate you joining us today, Christine. Thanks so much. We have created this series to support diversity in technology and really listen to women working in the space. And how they're building and supporting out other women in our industry. So the first question, and I ask everyone this question, could you please tell us a little bit about your own career path and maybe provide some insights or tips on that road path, especially as a woman, Are there any lessons shared that you could, any lessons learned that you could share?
So a couple of things, as I mentioned, just this great opportunity to come up in tech throughout my career. And I will say that just about the whole way through, I was consistently one of the only women in the room, whether we were with a customer, a partner, at a conference, at networking events, leads to feeling isolated. Some of those events were golf events and whiskey tastings and cigar events. And those were things I really couldn't relate to. And, it was hard to break into conversations with people. And I thought, where were the women? We have to, and the technology industry is such an incredible place to be. And, just felt like, how do we bring more women into this and make, bring gender parity to these events so that you mentioned the word safe, so that women feel more comfortable, being being in the room and being present. So, I really took those experiences that fueled my need to want to be a part of starting this network. But you asked about, what are some lessons learned? And I would say, given that we haven't seen a ton of change in the numbers for gender parity in this industry, you have to really be bold and go for it. And, I think, sitting back and kind of waiting for career paths to materialize in front of you or for your manager to take the time to help you build it out, or for even HR teams to do that. We're in a place now in the world where they just don't have the time to do that stuff, right? So I think we have to really inspire women to get clear on their vision. Where do they want to go? What skills do they want to build? And then look at the networks around them. Look at look at where they can take advantage of learning. We've got lots of stuff on LinkedIn Learning, and there's lots of technology companies and organizations like the WIT Network that provide skills training and different, educational opportunities. And so I just really encourage women to be bold, go for it, get out there and capture, the skills that they need to help accelerate their careers.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I was just speaking to a friend and colleague about just this very thing. I have my own personal networking, my book that I have on, it's a rainbow and it's on my desk. And it's like I look at it, and when I need those moments to kind of plan and, speak to others, and I have a business coach I work with, that's super important. And I didn't really learn this until now in life, or when I started working with organizations like the WIT Network. So it's really impactful to me. So maybe we could this segues well into the next question. Could you please tell our audience a little bit about the WIT Network?
Yeah.
What is it? How was it formed? And we talked about this a little bit, but why it's important right now, especially for women in tech, to have organizations like WIT.
Oh gosh, I could talk about this for a long time. It excites me so much. So the WIT Network was formed about 6 years ago. We just celebrated our anniversary, and the idea was in the beginning that we wanted to build a global network of women around the world, obviously in tech, to have this safe place to come and be with like-minded people, to find other women that were facing some of the same challenges that they were, right? Building peer groups, connecting to help one another, maybe get connections into potential prospects or helping them with jobs. There's all sorts of ways that your network can serve you. And so we thought, let's build this wonderful community where women can reach and connect arms around the world to help one another. That turned into, let's start to build education for women for skills that we know they're not getting education on, either within their own companies or within their own communities. And so we built out webinars, workshops, we've got leadership development, we have technology training, consistently hearing from women. They don't get offered the technology training that their male counterparts do. I don't know why that is still happening, but they're consistently telling us they're still not getting, the same kinds of opportunities with that. So we're trying to build technology cohorts for women. We've got mentoring circles, right, where global women can come. We're talking about issues that are facing women today, all sorts of topics like work-life balance, building confidence, negotiation skills, things that, that women can sometimes struggle with, but we want to help them. And we have incredible speakers and facilitators come on, teach best practices. A lot of times there's role playing, we do breakout groups. And, it's just another wonderful way for women to build their network because they get to connect with the women who are in all of these different programs and make friends and, also help one another. We also have 53 communities around the world who are getting together in person. So
Hmm.
I like to say a membership to the WIT network is really two-pronged. You have all the virtual education, and then you have the in-person networking where you can get together in your local community. They do all sorts of things like charity events. They have book signings. They do wine tastings. They do crafts. They do speed networking, all different, whatever the community feels like. They are independently run and they plan their events. And they work with a lot of the technology companies in those local areas to sponsor the events and provide that additional networking. There's also an in-person conference that we do every year for International Women's Day. We had to take a little hiatus on that because of the pandemic, but we are bringing it back in person in Dallas this year. It's going to be incredible. It's called Igniting Excellence. We're going to have a celebration of women through our Women of Excellence Awards program. That's brand new, that's coming out. And it's going to be just a wonderful time for us all to come together, celebrate our accomplishments, but also get fueled up on what we still need to do. And so the sub theme of the conference is all about kind of what I spoke to in the beginning is inspiring women to really take charge of their destiny and their career path and understand what skills they'll need in this new era of AI, which again presents an incredible opportunity for us to level the playing field there with regard to gender. And so we're going to have an AI workshop helping women build skills, and then we're going to have a lot of inspiring speakers that will all be talking about really how to take your career to the next level. So I'm so excited about that. Last thing, we have almost 14,000 people in the network, and we are in 80 countries around the world. And when we started the WIT network, I interviewed many women around the globe because it was really important for me to understand, did the needs of women differ depending on where they were in the world? And it was really interesting to me and fascinating to find that no, they all need and wanted the same thing. They wanted access to education and training, technology training. They need mentors and they need to help build their network. And so those are our main pillars. That's what we built the network on, access to education and training, access to the global network, and then also mentors. We have a new program called WIT Connects that provides real-time AI mentor matching for everybody in the network. So That's a lot. I'm going to
Wow.
take a break, but that's what we do.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really wonderful. And what I love about it is the opportunity to connect, online, but also connect in person. Because what we find is that often we're just, so busy in our roles, and then there might be an event that we can attend in person, and that's just a way to meet people face to face that you might have connected with online. I love the training aspect. I love the upskilling aspect. I talk to a lot of CIOs right now about the ways in which they're looking at how their staff need to learn about Gen AI, what implementation they want to put in around that. So, it's thank you for being ahead of the curve on that and making sure that those resources are available to women who are in the tech space. I really appreciate that. Um, well, thank you for that description, and we'll make sure we have a link to it in our posts on social media and on our website. So, one of the mandates of WIT is to enable more women to attain leadership positions and career advancement. Now, I speak with several next generation leaders, and I don't even know if I want to call them next gen leaders. I just feel that there's a group of individuals who are leading in tech right now who have there's sort of a longevity of that. But I do speak to a lot of women who are building up their careers, and they say they often come to a conference and it's just a sea of suits and men. I feel that way when I go to conferences. I bet you talked about it earlier. You felt that way as well. So we talked a little bit about the ways WIT supports networking, but also that idea of building the leadership skills. I know you had the management program. So maybe outside of WIT and within WIT, maybe what are some of the tips you could provide to women listening in on how to broaden your networks?
Yeah. So I think this is one of the areas where when you look at the data, we are still losing ground and in
Yeah.
some way, going negative with regard to representation at all the levels of leadership. Um, I guess this is something that's just going to really take a lot of time, to chip away at. So what we try to focus on is how do we help the women, skill themselves up to be best prepared for those opportunities to get put into to the leadership spots, right? Like I'll give you a storytelling example. I had met with a colleague of mine, and I went to his board of directors page, and they were all white men. And I said, this is interesting. Where are the women? And he said, oh, Christine, we believe in appointing people to the role based on skill, not by checking boxes. I said, fair enough. I think that is the right way to do it. But where is your pipeline of women that are getting ready to
Yeah.
step into these roles? And
Yeah.
how are you nurturing them and how are you preparing them for it? And he went, oh, yeah, we don't have that. Okay, so for companies out there,
Yeah.
that's number one, right? We get it. We're not asking to be put into roles that we're not ready for, but what is the process for helping women prepare for that and helping them get ready for those roles, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one side. On the side of the individual, we're looking at how can we help them build those skills. So we have a 10-week leadership cohort that we partner with Athena International on. And that's a great way for women to go through. It helps them assess their skills, understand their strong points, understand the areas that they need. What are their goals? Like, what is that dream? And so that's the process that helps them discover. And then I think the second part of it is they need to work with allies within their company. And so I would encourage women it goes to, you said, how do they build their network? Networking externally is very important. We all think about that, going to events, right? Getting out and meeting new people that way. But I like to coach folks to also have an internal networking plan. What are you looking at, internally, just not your manager, but your manager's manager? What about the C-suite, people across the C-suite, right? Or the SVP roles? Can you reach out to them? Can you ask for 15 minutes for a mentor session? And phrase it under the guise of you want to learn more about what their role is, what are their goals for their team within, how will it impact the business? Is there any way that you can help being from the role that you're in? Start those dialogues, get to know those folks and learn what is their experience being on a leadership team. What do they think are the most important skills that they contribute to the leadership team? Like take it on as a research project, right? And use that information to help build your roadmap to becoming a leader in that org. And also those relationships are key for when they are looking at who are they going to consider to
Yeah.
step and take some of the next leadership roles in the company. Now you've established relationships with everybody through your mentor sessions with them. You've been able to articulate what projects you're working on and what you're looking to do with your future. And that's how you build a network internally. And that's how you help to make sure that your work is visible across the leadership team and potentially get you poised. So it's a lot of different components, right? It's that the company has to be open and have a framework to support women to move up the pipeline. It's that the woman has to build skills to be ready for those leadership positions. And then also that the woman has to build a network around her that will support her, lift her up, pull her up, talk about her in the room when she's not there in a positive way and really help. And so it's kind of like that three-pronged magical approach, that I think women should look for in terms of if that is an aspiration that they have, right, to climb the ladder.
I love that. I really love that. And I was reflecting on what you were saying about your internal network. So that's such great advice. I think I would add to that too, that so many companies right now are struggling with profitabilities and growth. And, we've seen a lot of layoffs, unfortunately, and things like that. So, I also think just if you're in a role and, you see ways of improving an organization, right? You can let people know, you can let your manager know, but if you're, on a call with others that, are in different roles like marketing or other places, it's okay to say, I've been listening in. Here's one way I believe we could improve our output of our organization, right? And I always find that people who are in the high up positions are very open to learning and hearing that because they want to learn from people that are doing work to build, the organization and looking at ways to improve it.
Yeah. Lee, I love that. I love that advice. I think you're dead on there. I mean, we've had a lot of layoffs and there's still some going
Yeah.
on right now, but I think a lot of that is still like overcorrecting from the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
We're going to see that settle out.
Yeah.
And so I think for women today, you're right. It's two things. That how can you re-envision your job to be more efficient, to be more productive, to serve
Yeah.
customers better,
Yeah.
right? Like all of those things that will potentially impact the bottom line. We know based on data that comes from McKinsey and Gartner that teams that have broader diversity on them
Yeah.
will see greater profits, greater customer sat, greater
Yeah.
employee retention, like all those statistics.
Yeah.
So I think we just kind of have to, some of it is a little bit of timing, but the other part of it is what can we control? They always say, right? Don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control. You can control how you do your job.
Yeah.
And also, I would say, to your point, how can you tie AI in to potentially re-envision the work that you do and help your company, like you said, come up with fresh ideas about how AI could potentially be used to change some of the outcomes for how your company does business,
Yeah.
because that will definitely make you stand out to the leadership as well.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Thank you so much. All right. So lastly, Christine, I'm asking it because we're in 2024 now, just hit November 1st, actually. There's a lot going on in the world. So, I really thank you so much for all you're doing to support women in business, women in tech. Thank you so much and for sharing all of these experiences you've had and what the WIT Network does. So listen, hey, for all those tech companies out there listening in, I would really love to hear from you as to the types of things they could look at initiating in 2025 to support women and to create really safe, inclusive
Yeah,
workplaces.
yeah, that's a great question. I think many companies have them, but like an employee resource group or a business resource group or an affinity group, whatever they're called, that's a great place to start, right? Build a place for women to come to be with one another. Have somebody that runs the ERG that is in tune with the needs of the group, opens up polls, dialogues with the women often to understand what are those needs. Look, we're learning that employees really want to feel that they belong to the organization, that they're in an inclusive environment. We know that that's important. If you care at all about employee retention, then, I think it would be a mistake to not have somebody responsible for looking at how inclusive is your organization? What sense of belonging are you fostering a culture, for the employees? Those employee resource groups are a great start. They're a great way to do it. And it allows how do I say this? It allows like a connection point from their voice to leadership about things that are happening in the organization. I also like to say, if you're a leader in any way, shape, or form, get out and talk to people. Sometimes just taking 5 to 10 minutes, even virtually, I know we're not all back in offices yet, but if you can have a virtual chat with somebody, what's your experience like here?
Yeah.
Tell me candidly, how are we doing? How
Yeah.
do you feel safe? Do you feel that, your work is contributing to the bigger picture of what we're doing? And opening up those dialogues, I think, goes a long way towards building trust, building relationship with your employees, and ideally keeping them, right?
Mhm.
Especially if, you get feedback that you're able to take action on. Partnering, I'd be remiss if I didn't say partnering with the WIT Network,
Yeah.
is a great way to support the women in your organization, because somebody said, you're like an outsourced ERG, and we
Yeah.
really are. We're this whole ecosystem that individual companies cannot reproduce on their own. And we also have tons of programs that individual companies cannot produce on their own. So why not partner with us and snap in and connect the women in your org to this whole framework of education and mentorship?
Yeah. And I mean, also for the people in the organization, like you're always looking for women in management and tech to present at, at conferences, at panels. So, if you're a member of the network, I'm sure there's that opportunity to include the women in your space, to be a part of the network, but also to, have the opportunity to present and share what their own journey. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is really great program. And thank you so much for founding it and for all you do.
Thank you. It is an honor and a pleasure, and I enjoy every single day because I get to work with incredible people, all supporting the network and our technology partners and the women in the ecosystem. And we have so many volunteers and people who help stand it up all over the world. So it's not just me; it's an army of people all working together, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you so much for sharing today. And as mentioned, we'll include a link on our post on our website and on our social media to the WIT Network if you
Thank
want to
you.
learn more information. And thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you giving me this time and this space today, and it was a pleasure chatting with you.